Daniel had spent his entire childhood in a rundown orphanage on the outskirts of Chicago. He never knew his parents. His earliest memories were of shared dormitory beds, cold winter nights, and staring out of the window, wondering if someone would come and take him home. But no one ever did. At 17, Daniel was nearing the age where he'd have to leave the orphanage and survive on his own. He had no money, no family, and no connections. He watched other kids get adopted or placed in foster homes, but for some reason, no one had ever chosen him. One night, after another rejection from a potential foster family, Daniel sat on his tiny bed, staring at an old newspaper he had found in the common room. It was an article about Richard Caldwell, one of the richest and most powerful billionaires in the country. The man had built an empire from nothing, coming from a poor background just like Daniel's. For some reason, Daniel felt a boom spark of hope. He grabbed a pen and a piece of crumpled paper and started writing, "Dear Mr. Caldwell, my name is Daniel Carter, and I have nothing. I was abandoned as a baby and grew up in an orphanage. I don't know what love feels like, and I don't have a single person who cares about me. I'm about to turn 18, and I have no idea how I'm going to survive. But I read about you and how you built your life from nothing. I don't want money or a job. I just want to know how you did it. How do I become successful when I have nothing? Please, if you have time, write back. Sincerely, Daniel." He didn't expect a reply. Billionaires didn't have time for kids like him, but something inside told him to send it anyway. Days passed, then weeks. Daniel had almost forgotten about the letter until a thick envelope arrived at the orphanage. It had his name on it. His hands trembled as he ripped it open. Inside was a handwritten letter from Richard Caldwell himself. "Dear Daniel, I won't waste your time with sympathy. I know you don't need pity. You need direction. You remind me of myself at your age. I, too, had no one, no support, no future, but I made a choice. I decided to learn everything I could, work harder than anyone else, and never let my past define me. Here's my challenge for you. 1. Get a job. Any job. Learn how people work, what they need, and how businesses run. 2. Read one book every week about success, business, or psychology. 3. Find a problem that people struggle with and solve it. That's how you make money. 4. Never, ever quit, even when you fail, especially when you fail. Most people won't do these things. That's why most people fail. Do these things, and in 5 years, you'll be in a place you never imagined. If you take this challenge seriously, write back in 1 year and tell me what you've done. Sincerely, Richard Caldwell." Daniel read the letter over and over. He couldn't believe it. A billionaire had personally written back to him, not with money or charity, but with a blueprint for success. And Daniel was determined to prove him right. Following Caldwell's advice, Daniel took the first job he could find, washing dishes at a local diner. It was exhausting, but he listened closely to conversations. He noticed how customers complained about slow service and how waiters struggled to keep up. At night, he went to the library and read books about business, psychology, and money. He studied how people thought, what made them buy things, and how companies succeeded. One day, after months of working at the diner, Daniel had an idea. He designed a simple app that allowed customers to place their orders before arriving at the restaurant. It cut down waiting times by half. seat. He pitched the idea to the diner owner, who laughed at first, but agreed to try it. It worked. Other restaurants took notice. Within a year, Daniel had built a small startup, and around his idea, he had gone from a homeless orphan to an entrepreneur. Exactly 1 year after receiving Richard Caldwell's letter, Daniel sat down and wrote back. "Dear Mr. Caldwell, I took your challenge seriously. I worked at a diner, learned how businesses operate, and studied every night. I created an app that helps restaurants serve customers faster, and now I have my own company. I still have a long way to go, but I finally feel like I'm not just surviving. I'm building something. Thank you for your advice. You changed my life. Sincerely, Daniel." He sent the letter, expecting nothing in return. But 3 days later, his phone rang. It was Richard Caldwell. "Daniel," the voice said, deep and steady, "I'm impressed. Meet me at my office tomorrow. I want to help you take your business to the next level." Daniel couldn't speak. His hands shook. This wasn't just advice anymore. This was a life-changing opportunity. The next day, Daniel stepped into the towering skyscraper. His heart pounding. He was led into Caldwell's massive office, where the billionaire sat waiting. "I built my empire the same way you did, Daniel," Caldwell said, smiling. "From nothing. And I can tell when someone has the fire to succeed. So, here's my offer. I'll invest in your business, but on one condition." Daniel swallowed hard. "What condition?" Caldwell leaned forward. "Someday, when you make it big, I want you to do what I did for you. Help someone who has nothing. Give them the same chance." Daniel felt tears burning in his eyes. He nodded. "I promise." Daniel did. Make it big. His company revolutionized the restaurant industry, making him a millionaire before 25. And one day he found himself reading a letter, just like the one he had once written. It was from a struggling teenager. Lost and alone. Daniel smiled, picked up a pen, and began to write. Because he knew. One letter can change a life. Success isn't about where you start, but how determined you are to keep going.